Everyone, good afternoon. My name is Kevin Deere, and I'm the VP of Broker Experience at Newton. And along with me, I have the lovely Sarah Schneider. Thanks for joining us this afternoon as we give you a tour of client experience. Client experience is what we've actually brought out in early July. And we've had a lot of take up on it over the last few months, and continue to get feedback from people on how to continue to improve it. And we implement those improvements on a regular basis. So the purpose of today is really to give you an idea of why you should use client experience as part of your arsenal, and a little bit of background about how we chose to implement it in the way that we've done. So for those of you that don't know, we have basically taken what was our client portal, and we were the first platform to come out with a client portal for secure document exchange. And then we updated our online application to an overall client journey. And we basically smashed the two together back in July to give you client experience, a way for your clients to get you documentation right up front at the time that they take the application. Okay? So that's what we're going to show you today. I'm just going to share my screen here. Everyone is on mute. Feel free to put questions into the chat. Sarah is actually going to monitor those questions. She'll stop me from time to time to ask those questions, as well as she'll answer some of them directly in the chat itself. So that being said, I'm just going to share my screen. All right, Sarah, can everyone see my velocity dashboard?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so for those of you that don't know, like I said, we have done an amalgamation of our online client journey along with our client portal. For those of you that don't know, I'm just going to backtrack and show you both the client journey and the client portal. From your Velocity homepage, if you go under Me into your profile, this is where you actually find your online application link that you would put in for your Apply Now button on your website. This is also where you would embed as an Apply Now button on your email signature. So it's easy for you to forward off to your client and get them to complete the application. What we've done is we've given you access to a few different types of settings. We have what we consider our client journey is the new experience, which is a very modern way of taking an application. We do have the ability to flip it if you prefer just that old form application where someone just scrolls through. We do have that available to you, but we highly encourage and we default everyone to the new online client journey. You actually get to pick your theme. So if you're part of a network, whether it be DLC, MCC, MA, or other networks, your network logos could be here, or you can actually upload your own logo. And this upload would apply both to your client application as well as your client portal. So it's a great way to have your own branding right up front for you to actually utilize. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at your online client application. So the client journey is a modern application. Like I said, completely customizable. Where I have this white bar is where your branding would be. And what we've really done differently in our client journey is make it so that it's much more intuitive. The application will ask the next logical question based on their previous response. So as an example, if I'm looking to buy a property, what's it going to ask me? Have you found one, or are you still looking? So you're right off the get-go, you're differentiating between, are you working with a pre-approval or you're working with a buyer that's in a firm and binding contract. So it's a great way to have more information up front. So if I'm just looking, what does it ask? Do you have a property in mind? If you don't, tell us how much you'd like to borrow. So I could just complete 500 grand. You can tell I'm from Vancouver, and then move on. What the application does is it actually walks you through in bite-sized chunks. Your clients can actually complete this in 10 minutes or less. What we've done is we've added buttons that stand out. So if there's additional borrowers besides the one borrower, All they have to do is hit the add borrower button. But what we've also done is if they select their marital status as common law or married, it's actually going to pop up and ask if you'd like to add them to the application. So again, it's much more intuitive to walk them through the process of taking the app. We highly recommend that you actually send customers to complete the link because let's face it, taking the application isn't an art form. It's doing the deal that you are really the expert at. You don't want to think about just, the $10 an hour job just doing the data processing. Why not let your client do that? They're probably going to be able to complete it faster than you are, okay? In saying that, you also don't want your client to get frustrated in completing the app. So in the questions that we ask, like who you are, the only required pieces of information are name, contact details, and where they live. So at least at bare minimum, if they don't complete the app in full, you can reach out to that customer to get the balance of the information. Once they fill out who they are, ask them where they live, what do they do, and then it jumps into other finances. It'll talk about other income, all the assets that they have, and then other properties they may own that you may not have mortgaged either. This is a great way to get other sales opportunities right within your database because all those other properties that the client may own, most of them have a mortgage attached to them. And if they complete the mortgage information, you're going to have that in your database to mine that data to have more sales opportunities. In addition to that, once you get to almost done, ask who the referral is. And then if they want you to know anything else, they can complete it in the notes. All this information transfers right directly into the Velocity application. So you have it all right at your fingertips. When they actually complete the notes, or if they don't put anything, they get to the summary. We're going to ask them one more time whether they want to add anyone else to the application. We don't want clients to worry about, oh, I forgot to do this. We're going to give them reminders along the way. Now, saying that, if a client does only complete it for themselves, so let's just say the husband completes his own app and then the wife completes their own separate application, we do have a way where you can actually merge that into one application on the Velocity side. So again, it doesn't make you rekey that data into the new application. And then once they're ready to submit, it'll give them the summary of their application. So if they need to change anything, they can go in and edit it at any point. If they say, great, save and continue, and then it goes through your actual credit consent. So for any of those office administrators or broker owners on the line, this consent can be managed by you at an office level. We have a standardized consent that Newton has put in that we've passed through our legal department for your Canadian anti-spam, your CASL legislation, as well as your credit and sharing of information and privacy policy right within the application itself. They can check off they agree and then submit it. Once that client submits the application, you as the agent is going to receive an email notification that you have a new application from so-and-so borrower. Your client is also going to receive an email that says, thanks for your application, we'll be back to you shortly, and they get a summary of the credit consent that they've just signed off on for the application. So you have all that available right at your fingertips. It's an easy process. Now, from time to time, Equifax or the credit bureau companies will come back and audit the office to see whether you had authorization to pull the report. This is the easiest way to handle it because all Equifax requires is a copy of that email that you actually received an application online and you have it with the client name and deal number. And then they just need to see a copy of what your actual online consent is. And then you pass audit with flying colors with them. So that's an easy way to get past all the documentation right up front, okay? In addition, with our online application, we have it in English as well as French. So your clients can decide, they can just click the French button and it's going to convert the information to French on all the various pages. So I could go back into who they are and there it actually shows you everything in French. So from client to client, they can decide what is appropriate for them. Okay. Do we have any questions about the client journey application?
We do. We have a question. Does the app automatically go through each section as the client finishes each one, or do they have to click on each section?
It actually goes through at the bottom. I'll hit it back to English so most of us can understand it. Every time they complete a section, they just hit save and continue. It's going to take them to the next section. If they're missing information like I am here, because I haven't completed the app, it tells them what those things are. And if I were to add it, and because I can see Ken right on the front of on the screen here. So now I'm just going to use my email address. And everyone knows my cell phone number because it's been all over social media. So I can just hit save and continue, and then it takes me to the next section. So that's a great question. You do not have to click on the left-hand tab, but it's available to someone if they need to go back and complete something that they didn't complete before the summary section. Any other questions?
If an invalid email is plugged, will it stop them from moving to the next step?
It doesn't validate the email. It will require an extension like a .ca or .com, but it's not going to validate and send a test email to that customer to see whether it's valid or not.
Okay. And how does one print off the consent if the email hasn't been sent? I'm not quite sure what they mean if they haven't submitted yet.
Yeah, if the client has hit the submit button, the agent receives an email notification automatically in your email that you've received the application. Mm-hmm. That is all you require, because you can just give them a copy of the consent that you have online from your online application. So there's nothing that is required to be printed.
Okay. And one other question, they said that spouses must have an app for the mortgage. So why make it an option?
Just because maybe the client wants to fill it out at an additional time, like at a subsequent time, and he wants the spouse to fill it out. We don't want to dictate how the clients do it. We have thought about providing various levels of validation that an agent could decide how high a threshold they want the client to go through, but we don't want a client to get frustrated in completing the app. Okay.
Seems to be good for now.
Perfect. Thanks, Sarah. All right. So as I said, once that application is completed, you're going to end up getting an email in your regular email. You're also going to see that you have a new online application right in your message center as well. So you're going to see that there. In addition to that, all your new online applications are going to show up under your ribbon icon. So when you go in to see all your new applications, if you haven't viewed any of them, this notification would say 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you view them, it's going to take away the number. But all your new online applications are going to be there and the source of where they came from. So if you are using just the online application from your website or an Apply Now button, it'll be coded as your client journey. If you use client experience, and like I said, that's the joining of your application as well as your document collection right up front, it will say client experience, okay? So for those of you that have not seen the client portal, I'm going to show that to you. Now from any application, you can go into the conditions and documents section and request documents from a client at any point within the application process, okay? I'm going to switch over to modern view just because I prefer it. Everything is available in the classic view, which is our expert look and feel. The difference is when this deal is already submitted, in modern view, I don't have to scroll all the way down to the page or click in the left-hand menu to get to my conditions and documents section. Okay, so if I click here, it's going to take me down the page. Okay, in modern view, because of the status of the file is no longer new, it's already been submitted to the lender, I can reorganize these tiles in the way that I like to look at my application once it's already submitted. For me, I like to have my conditions and documents right at the top of the page because that's what's outstanding. And I like to have my mortgage request higher up on the page. Okay, so that being said, From the conditions and documents section, if I have outstanding conditions, I can actually just select what those conditions are that I want the client to upload, and I can send them a request just by selecting those items and going and saying actions, and I scroll down here to where it says client portal and email request conditions or documents for conditions. When I do that, it pops open an email. It automatically includes my email signature that I've previously set up in my settings sections, and it gives them a nice grid of what you're looking for, okay? You can edit this at any point. You can type in here. So I could say, hi, Jack, please upload the following docs. Or if you prefer, just reply to the email and attach the documents. If I could type properly. So dot, 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 dot.
Nice typing there, Kevin.
You like that? I know. It's because I have all these people watching me. I suck. All right. So then I could just email the email out and I send it and it ends up in the client's email inbox. This is what the email actually looks like. So this is one I previously sent, so I didn't have to wait for my email server to pick up the email. So there it is. It said, hi, Jack. It has my conditions list. It has my upload buttons. And then I can just, as the customer, click the upload button to open up my client portal. Okay. So again, I did that earlier. So here now is your client portal where the client, if they open up the client portal on their phone, they can actually take pictures of their documents and it will automatically convert it to a PDF and upload it to you, okay? Or they could simply drag and drop their documents from their desktop. So I'm just going to go here, go into my test documents, and I could just start dragging and dropping documents over. Okay. Go to the next one. I can just select files as well. I can say there's a T4. And as we know, most clients screw up what they need to upload. They either put them all together as one document. They may have the letter of employment and pay stub that they stick in the pay stub condition, or they don't even pay attention to what they're uploading to where, and it just ends up all in the wrong spot. One of the things that we've done, because we're brokers first, is we make sure that we have the ability in Velocity to split those documents up, drag and drop them into the right locations, or merge them together if we need to, okay? So I'm just gonna drag this down here, and then we're off to the races. Okay. All right, so as you can see, I've started uploading different documents to the system. Once I hit complete, it automatically, I will get an email notification that the documents are there. So people love the fact that they can get the documents securely from the customer all in one get-go, okay? Now, the beauty of client experience is you've taken this client portal that we've created, which I should mention is the #1 most used feature in all of Velocity. And I've now combined it with my client journey to have client experience, okay? I'm gonna stop there for a second, do my pregnant pause, as Jeff Willis likes to say, and ask, was there any questions, sir, that we need to answer as we were going?
There was one that I answered, but the other one is more of a request. They'd like to see, can you show how to take a photo of the document?
Can I show how to take a photo of the document? Sure.
Yeah.
Through the power of a camera. So for those, oh, my phone's not going to show up properly with my background. So basically, I've taken my email on my camera. I've opened the email, which me as a customer would receive. I've clicked the upload button. That's not showing up very well. So once I click the upload button, it actually takes me to the web page for the client portal where I was here. Okay, so it's just down into a web version, and it stacks just like this. Okay, so this is what it would look like on your phone. Now, anytime I were to select the file, when I hit select on my phone, it will actually say, do you want it from my photo library, or take a photo, or browse? So I just have to hit take photo on my phone, and then I just take a photo of the document right on my desk. Hopefully that makes sense to people.
Okay, we have another question that I think is good to address. How do you send updates to clients, read document insufficiencies?
Sure, another great question. Okay, so one of the things that you can do here is when your documents are received through the client portal, just going to refresh the page. We have a security feature that locks down the documents at midnight every night so that if the client hasn't hit complete, those documents aren't available for the customer to view through the web, okay? So in order for me to lock them down, I could just click the checkbox, in the documents that I received, okay? No, it doesn't like my buttons here. So I did it previously. Oh, it's because this file was already compliant. Now, in saying that, when I go in here, I can actually send a particular request back to that agent or to that client saying, you uploaded this, that was incorrect, please upload that. So I can actually put in notes. Appraisal is probably not the right condition to do it in. I'll do it in the mortgage statement. So in the actual condition, I have a section that has client-facing notes. And I could say something like, this doc isn't correct, and I'm not going to continue typing because I know I'm going to screw something up shortly. And then you could just say what you need and send that condition back to them for them to reload the actual document. You think that satisfied that answer, Sarah, for that question?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so that is the client portal. And like I said, client experience is really what has come out of having your client portal and your client journey as two separate items. Now, in your client experience, if you think about it, now there's competitors that have a similar type of product out in the marketplace today. And what they tend to do is they have smart documents and smart conditions that will automatically populate when the client completes the application. We were actually the first ones that came up with smart conditions, but what we began to realize were when clients complete an app, they normally screw it up. So as an example, you could have a client that is T4'd from their own company that they own. So they say, hey, I'm salaried. So if they select that they're salaried on their application, it may ask for a pay stub and a letter of employment. Where all of us on the line here know, because they're self-employed, I need business financials, I'm going to need T1 generals and all these other docs, okay? So we didn't feel that it was best to imply smart documents right in our client-facing application when we did client experience. Most of you on the line normally talk to your client over the phone first before you direct them to your online application or email them a link to complete. So you generally ask them information about their circumstance. What do they do for employment? What's the purpose of their application? Purchasing, refining, those types of things. So you're truly the expert on what documents should be provided up front. And we wanted you to be able to ask for those as opposed to having the system override what you've asked for, okay? So that's sort of a basis of why we've implied client experience the way that we've done. So again, when you want to send out an application and client portal together, we go to the add button and say, add client experience. What it does is it pulls up the application so it has your client's first name, last name, the email address. And then we've got a templated email that you can control in your profile section and set up your template the way you want it to look and read and feel. Okay. So again, if I were to email this to myself, I've already done it in the background, so I'll show you that one in a second. I can't even spell my name right while I'm typing. Okay.
I never bother writing my whole name. I just put in some gobbledygook.
Yeah. You normally use Kate Middleton, don't you? So.
No, now I use Moira Rose.
Right, right. So the nice thing about having your email templated, everything's already completed. But if you want to put some personal spin on it, you can still add it in before you send it out. Great chatting with you. And then away we go. Now, as part of that template, I may have automatically had it pre-populate certain documents that I normally ask for, okay? So you could have 10, 15 things on here, and maybe they don't apply to this circumstance. You can just go in and say, hey, I actually don't need the bank statement because he's refining. I just delete it, and I can say, okay, because he's refining, I'm going to also add in here his current mortgage statement. I'm going to add in here his property assessment. And maybe the guy, what do we have here? Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So, oh, tenancy agreement, that's what I was looking for. So maybe these are the 5 things that I actually need from this customer. Again, I can complete optional description things in here so it shows up in the portal when the client actually completes the app, and then I just send it off. Now, one of the things that people normally ask me about client experience is, why does it only go to one person? That's because we didn't want to make sure that there was any collision of, Ken starting to complete the application and then his wife is trying to do it at the exact same time. And then whose information do we keep? So what we've done is we've made it so that it goes to a primary person. And if Ken isn't the one that's actually filling out the application, he can email it over to Sarah for her to complete. So you're, again, putting the client in the driver's seat to make the choice on how they want to do it. When that application comes, or the email comes through, it looks like this. So here's the templated email. This is one I did earlier, so it's not the exact same. It has the pay stub, letter of employment that I've requested in bank statements. And then they can just complete the application by clicking start the app. Again, the beauty of this, it walks them through the application, and when they complete it, it then opens up the client portal for their documents. Okay. Now, when I do that, so let me just get back to that email. Wrong email. This one right here. If I was the client and I didn't complete the application, or I've just completed the application, but I didn't upload the documents right away because I didn't have them handy, this email, they can always refer back to, and they can just go and click upload documents. So you're not having to resend them the link every single time for them to get the documents. If they've only put 2 of the 3 things in here as well, when they click that link, it'll just ask them for the 1 remaining item if they've already uploaded 2. So again, we're trying to make it as simple as possible for the client. We also don't make them create a username and password because we aren't storing any of the information online for them to have to go back to. So again, an easier way, and not putting you in the tech business by you having to be tech support for your customer because they can't figure out how to enter a username and password into a client portal. And trust me, being on the tech side, we get that a lot. So this is another way that we've simplified the whole process. So we believe client experience puts you in the driver's seat, allows you to be the expert in what those documents are, but making it easy for those customers to get it to you. So that is client experience in a nutshell. Again, if you want when you are in Velocity, you can go into the Me tab, go into your profile, and this is where you actually template your message for client experience. You can also add what documents you want as part of that template all the time, as well as you can update the information or the messaging on your client portal when it opens up. So we give you lots of ways to customize your messaging to your client. Okay.
Question there about sending out the application, and you know there are going to be 2 borrowers. How do you request documents for each?
Great question. So right now, what I would suggest is you can actually add in, when you're putting in the notes, you can say for borrower 1 and borrower 2, or husband and wife, and they can upload it as one, and then you can separate it after the fact. We are actually adding in a feature where you can actually have multiple documents requested, and you'd be able to say for borrower 1, for borrower 2. So that is a feature that is coming shortly.
Yeah, or when they pull up the client experience email to send out, you are able to edit the notes there as well. So if you know their names, you could say pay sub for both Sarah and Colin.
Yeah. Your spouse's name, right there, sir?
First ones that came to mind. And another question is, they want to know how many templates we can create, like one for refinancing clients, one for BFS client, one for regular clients.
Right, and that's, again, a great question. And this is why we want more and more people using us, providing us more feedback. Right now, there's only one template that you can create. We are going to give people the ability to select different templates for messaging from a drop down. So that is coming probably early in the new year. Other questions?
If you already did an application with the client, do you just send a doc request from the action tab to get documents?
Again, great question. If you already have an application for a client that you completed in the past, you can just go in and you can either start a new application, and if I have done one for them, I might have a lot of Jack Reds here. It will automatically look for Jack in the system. And then you can select which Jack it is. I chose someone that we do all these test deals for, so it's pulling up a lot of Jacks. You use Moira Rose, right?
Yeah, I do. I think that they're referring to, Kevin, how to send the client portal out once you already have the application.
Right. Okay. So if you needed to already, you did a previous app, you could pull it up this way. You can search for the client this way. I'll say it's Sally. I already have Sally's application, and yes, I can actually just send the request from the conditions and documents section. Right here. And just add in, if you have your smart conditions that you want to apply, because you already have the application, you can do that, or add in more conditions, and then you send it off to your customer just by selecting the items and hitting actions and scrolling down to the client portal email request for conditions and documents.